have to kind of be a little bit careful as you start to go through these. One of the things, and then arteries, you're gonna pull away some of the muscle tissue that, you have. So you're gonna wanna gently come in and kind of remove some of this muscle tissue right in here. And you should be able to see, at some point, you should be able to see the, carotid artery right here. And so the carotid arteries is what we're gonna follow up. And so as long as you're not cutting anything deep down in here, you're gonna be okay. So we're gonna remove this muscle here, part of the sternomastoid there. And then we're gonna take and we're gonna remove most of the sternothyroid muscle. We're just right down there. Where I wanna be. Yeah, cat juice on there. Alright, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna come in, we're gonna cut that sternothyroid. Okay? Still just doesn't wanna work, but we're not gonna go that far. Now here's where you kinda wanna be a little delicate. As you remove that muscle there. Okay? And what we've exposed is we've exposed pretty well the carotid. So we're still talking about the common carotid here. And so this is gonna be the left common carotid right here. So we're following down number 4. And what we're gonna do is we're going to find a couple of blood vessels here as we come across. Now, what we're gonna find is we're gonna find this little bean-shaped organ that is going to be right here. It's this brown thing. Kind of elongated and brown. We're not gonna move too much around from it. We're just gonna kind of just lean it over just a little bit so we can look. There's some connective tissue in here. You just wanna be real easy and gentle as you go through here. And what we're gonna see is that's the thyroid gland. Okay? So that's the thyroid gland. And he's gonna be on either side of the trachea. We're going to come up until we find 2 branches that are pretty much directly right across from each other. Not this guy right here, okay? He may show up down there on your cat. We don't care about him. We want to go up to the top of the thyroid gland to where we see a little tiny vein, artery coming right across here, and another one artery coming across here. They will be directly across from each other, and they kind of show you that on your diagram. It's number 5 and number 6. Alright, so this is a lymph node. If you can leave the lymph node in place, do so, because what's going to happen is, you're going to start to pull away these blood vessels here. And we really don't want to do that. Alright, so we're following up my common carotid. And these are tiny on this cat, so I'm not going to go digging too much more on this one. But what I can see is I can see that there is a little red one that is coming across to the top of the thyroid. The thyroid's that brown thing that's going to be on the side of the trachea. Okay. So there it is. My thyroid, and then here is the little tiny red one right here. The little tiny red one that's going to come up and hook over the top of my thyroid gland is the superior thyroid, and the one that's directly right across and kind of branches into this Y, that's actually going to be the muscularis. Okay, so this little tiny blood vessel here coming across, and I'm really not going to mess with it too much because it's really super tiny, but if you want to get in there and kind of flex flesh out some of that connective tissue you can later so that you can see that thyroid gland a little bit better. But this little tiny one right here is your superior thyroid. This one is going to be your muscularis. They're right across from each other. And then I've got this branch right here that is going over to the top of my larynx. And this guy that's coming across to my larynx, he's looping like this. It's just the way this one's doing it. Yours may not. But the way this one is attached to my carotid is right here. And it's kind of hugging the lymph node right here a little bit and then kind of making this loop right here to the larynx. That's going to be your laryngeal. That is going to be number 7. Okay? So we've got 4, which is my carotid. We're still calling this guy the left common carotid. We come up to the thyroid, we branch off and go to the thyroid, and that's going to be my superior thyroid. Above it's going to be my laryngeal, and going down deep back here into the muscles of the neck, that's going to be my muscularis. Okay? Now, everybody else is going to be kind of hanging around up in here where the digastric is and where this big mass of salivary glands is going to be. So you kind of have to be a little careful here. Now, what we're going to do is you just kind of pull everybody away a little bit, and you'll start to see this nice big salivary gland come into view here. And then you've got your carotid that we're still calling the carotid as we move up. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to cut, if you haven't done so, which I don't know if you might have or not on your cat, we're going to cut this jugular. This is the transverse jugular. And we're going to pull it over. That's all you need to do. And then now you can kind of come around in here and start to see some of the things that you want to see. Now, this guy right here is really nothing. Okay? Right in here. And what we want to do is we want to find that common carotid. I'd like us to free that laryngeal up just a little bit. Just so that I can get it out of the way. It's attached to there, so we'll pull them over there. Alright, so here's what we want to see. We want to follow that big guy right there, okay? Any of these superficial guys up here at the top, we don't really need to be too terribly worried about right now, because we're going to be able to follow him up here. Now, what you need to do is once you get here to the digastric, remember that's that digastric muscle right here, and what we want to do is we're going to have to cut that guy, but you have to be pretty careful. Once you get this guy right here, which is still going to be my common carotid at this point, his name doesn't change just yet, it's fixing to. We want to find where that digastric muscle is going to hit close to that mastoid bone. So take your scissors, and you're going to kind of dig around a little bit until you kind of hit hard bone. And you'll be able to tell that you're hitting hard bone. You'll push and it's not going to go through anymore. That's going to be where the mastoid process is. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go in and take your scissors, and you're going to want to cut that digastric muscle, and we're going to peel him out, okay? He gets a little chewy at this kind of point in the semester. So we're going to pull that guy out as best we can. He may not come out in one piece, okay? Then we should start to see the blood vessels kind of come into view here. I happen to have a really big lymph node in my way on this cat. You may not, but I just have this gigantic lymph node that I'm going to have to cut out of the way. It's just too much in the way here. Okay, let's make sure I have everybody I need. He's actually obscuring most of what I need to see. I don't know if yours is gonna have one like that as well, but again, try to be pretty easy. That's a big gigantic. Okay. All right, so now I can see everybody that I want to see. Get that lymph node out of the way and I'm good to go here. All right, so we're still going to call this guy the left common carotid. So he's still going to come up and he's not going to change. But we're going to find a branch that's going to go up under the tongue, and that's going to be the lingual. He's hiding up under here. You may have to come in and clear out a little bit of that mylohyoid again. So there goes all of your hard work dissecting out those muscles. You're just ripping them off now. What we're going to do is we're looking for one that's going to go right up under the tongue. There's my lingual. Okay. Move the nerve in the way. Alright, here's my lingual. This lingual happens to be kind of covered up. It's an extra kind of fat. A little extra layer around it. Okay. And so here, if we recap again, this is my left common carotid, superior thyroid, muscularis, laryngeal. I still call this guy the left common carotid, but then he kind of comes up and goes up underneath to where the tongue is. That guy's the lingual, right here, and I will let the group kind of clean it out just a little bit, clean that one up a bit. But this is going to go up under the tongue. The lingual is number 8. And we're not going to do anything else with him. He's pretty much done. We're not going to do anything else. We're just going to he goes up here, he's now the lingual. Now, here's where things start to change pretty quickly as far as the name is concerned. Once I pass the lingual, my common carotid is going to become my external carotid. Okay? Pick up a little bit more of that digastric, but you see how delicate you have to kind of be when you go down there and get that digastric. I'm actually poking the mastoid process right here. The arteries that we want to see are right here. Okay? So look, here I'm left common carotid. Here I am the lingual. This branch right here, this little piece just right here is called my external carotid. The external carotid is then going to go up and branch up into the brain. And it's going to become what's called your internal carotid. Okay, but we're not going to worry about that. That's way too far up. But that's the external carotid. Now we have two more. We have one that is going to be called the internal and the external maxillary. The internal maxillary is 11. 10 is your external maxillary. Okay, so what we have is you'll see it's a Y. Okay, so we've got a Y here. The stalk of the Y is my external carotid. Okay, now I've got the branches of my Y. This branch that's going down over here, that's going to be my internal maxillary. Okay? That's my internal maxillary. other stalk of the Y, right here, this is my external maxillary. So here's my external carotid. My internal maxillary goes deep down in and branches off to blood vessels that are going to supply the ear. And this guy right here is my external maxillary. Now, I'm going to see a couple of branches. Looking for 3, I see 2 that I want. 2 of the branches are going to come up and become what's called the submental and the labial. And these 2 guys are intact and they look really good. Okay, so I'm going to talk about those guys first. I'm going to come back and find my next guy. I think I've got it right here, but I'm going to dig a little bit. All right, so if we recap again, just to keep everything kind of where we are here. Here's my left common carotid. Come up here. I've got my really delicate superior thyroid, my muscularis, my laryngeal. I still call it my left common carotid. I come up here under the tongue. This is the lingual. As soon as I make that branch in the road and go off to my lingual, my left common carotid changes names. We call him the external carotid. Then my external carotid is going to take 2 branches. I'm going to go to this branch here. This is my external maxillary. This is my internal maxillary. Then I've got 2 branches. I've got a nice branch that's going right up here underneath the chin. That's my submental. Mental means chin, sub is below. So this guy's my submental, and this branch coming across to my masseter muscle, this little guy right here, that's gonna be my labial. Goes to the lips, okay? Goes to the labials. Now, the one that's hiding is my last one. And the last one that's hiding is gonna be my parotid. And it's gonna be going to this big old parotid gland that's right in here. So you may have to do a little bit of digging, but I can see it, it's right there. I just have to kind of dig it out a little bit. And there it is. And you can kind of go and dig a little bit into your salivary gland. So as I'm going here and digging through my salivary gland, I can start to see that parotid artery, which is this little guy right here. All right, so these are some of the tinier ones that you're going to have to look for here today. All right, but there's my parotid right there coming across. And he kind of loops across. This is my parotid here. Then I have my submental and my labial. Okay, so to recap all, we come down here. This is my what? Left common carotid. I find the one that's going to loop over my thyroid gland, and this guy is the superior thyroid. The guy that's going to be directly across from him is going to be the muscularis. I've got this little teensy branch that's going to my larynx. That's the laryngeal. I still call this guy the who? Left common carotid. But then I come to my first Y. Here's my left common carotid. This guy's branching out and going under my tongue, so this is the lingual. Then this branch here comes off, and now we call my left common carotid the external carotid. My external carotid is going to take 2 branches. We're going to have one of the branches that's going to go up here, and this is my external maxillary. Then I've got this guy that's going to go a little bit deeper. That's my internal maxillary. My external maxillary is going to branch off into this little guy here that's going to supply my parotid salivary gland, and so I'm going to call him the parotid. And then it's going to continue to branch here into another Y. The guy that goes up under my chin is my submental, and the guy that crosses my masseter and goes to my lips is the labial. That's it. Okay? They're not terribly hard to find. The naming may be a little bit confusing as you go to the different branches, but some of them are really delicate and tiny, so just be careful as you go digging around in there. All right, ladies, y'all can have your